really, even if somebody has heard about your business 3 months ago as they were starting to think about the need, they will look at it again before engaging with you. So that's really important. And 48% of people said that they would form an opinion after reading 3 to 5 reviews. But in the research, some folks go more than 10 reviews. Very few folks only look at 1 or 2 reviews. So again, it really matters what's in your most recent reviews, what's the most critical reviews, and how the business responds to those, and then your best reviews and how the business responds to those. All right, sounds like we have another poll. Yeah. So I would love to know, sorry, please take it away.
Oh, okay. Thank you. How many reviews do you read before you engage a business that is new to you? So would that be none, 1 to 2 of the reviews, 3 to 5 of the reviews, 6 to 10, or 10 plus reviews? We have some responses coming in already, and almost everyone voted last time. So please make it a point to go ahead and vote this time. A little bit more answers and choice than before, but how many reviews do you read before you engage a business that is new to you? So a quick countdown: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And here are the results. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this aligns to our what our findings showed about from the survey. So very few look at none, and even fewer. Well, now the numbers are moving around, but about so right about 10% read 2 or less reviews, and then really the core is at 3 to 5, and then you have about a third of people that read 6 and more reviews. So sounds like we have an audience and people that are engaged more in being informed before actually engaging with a business or a new product. All right, so beyond traditional review platforms, folks also seek out social media. And what I find very interesting with having Instagram, TikTok, and Reddit being strong contenders or places that people rely on to get information on new to them products and services is that these sites have in common with online reviews from Google and these other platforms that it's user-generated content. It's real people showcasing and sharing their experiences with products and services. And I think what makes Instagram, TikTok, and Reddit so compelling is that people share their experience with the product or service, but using pictures, videos, descriptions. It goes a lot further still than what an online review can offer. And so I find that very interesting. So to me, this says you really need to manage both aspects. How your online reputation appears with the reviews and ratings with the different websites that engage are important for your business, but also how social media perceives your business and how your brand is being discussed. So let's talk about trust and authenticity in reviews. I had mentioned the attraction for social media and the fact that it uses multimedia, essentially, so photos and videos to look at products and services and to discuss them. Well, same thing for reviews. 53% of respondents told us that they trust reviews from people that actually have real profile photos. And so they want to know that they're looking at a real person, and not just real photos, but further in the research, you'll find that if the person has a real person sounding name, if they use natural language, right? If it's a descriptive yet interesting review, it doesn't sound generic, it's not keyword stuff. These are all things that increase the trust signals. On the flip side, they told us that 60% distrusted reviews that they suspected were AI generated or responded by the business that were AI generated. So what does this tell us? It tells us that if you're going to use a review management platform, avoid canned responses, avoid over-automating, avoid generic replies. If your customer is taking the time to leave you a long, thoughtful, descriptive review, take the time to respond in kind to them. That goes a long way. And remember, from the folks that were looking at 5, 10 reviews, they look at all the reviews that you have and how you respond to them. That's how they make a decision in engaging with you. So let's talk about the minimum star rating that consumers generally accept. So we have, in the survey, about 30% said that they would not engage with a business that had a lower than a near perfect or perfect score of 5 stars. So people are becoming tougher and less tolerant of bad experiences. 43% of people said that they minimally needed 4 stars from a business, and fewer than 3% of people said they would be okay with a business that has a rating below 3 stars. So again, if you have a non-existent or a bad review profile, very low stars, people aren't even taking the time to look at your profile. They immediately eliminate you, so it won't even be a matter of you responding or not. They're just going to dismiss and fly over your business. So some takeaways for you here. Really important to build a diverse and authentic review strategy. Reviews and reputation is no longer just a nice to have. 99% of consumers in the US, and I'm willing to bet that this behavior is similar across the world, take the time to read reviews when engaging with businesses, products, and services that are new to them. So that has to be an integral part of the discovery process in your go-to-market. Important to focus on Google because they still dominate the place where people go and seek reviews, but really don't ignore the other platforms. Those are important as well. Some people will go and find more information on other more specialized websites, and they seek out that information purposefully. And also make sure that you emphasize review recency and authenticity by keeping a steady stream. It should actually resemble the business flow and volume. So if you're a restaurant and you have dozens of patrons every day, there should be a trickle every day of new reviews coming into the business, because that's how the business operates. It shouldn't be these big heaps of 50 reviews and then nothing for 2 months and then another 50 reviews. That also will trigger some parameters with websites that might have review spam monitoring, and so you want to be careful. You want it to look natural and authentic, and the way to do that is just to tie it back to transactions at the moment of an invoice, or at the moment of at the cash, just saying, hey, by the way, we're going to ask you for a review. So that's our first portion. The next section of our research is the core habits of local business reviewers, and we want to know what actually motivates them. Right, so it's one thing to rely on reviews, but also you want to know what motivates reviewers to actually want to leave a review. So what really was interesting for us is that 83% of the respondents said that they sometimes or almost always leave reviews, which is really interesting. But then why aren't we just smothered with reviews all the time if that's truly the case? And they shared with us that they want to, but generally they need proactive nudging. So they need you to ask them, they want to, but they'll forget, right? Life gets busy. I don't know about you, but I'm going to go on my cell phone and I might get a notification or a pop-up that will divert me from my original intent. I think that happens to me 12 times a day. I'm sure that happens to you as well. Some of them told us that they used to do it more, but now they're pretty busy. What really surprised us is that about 30% of people said that businesses are just not asking them to leave a review. So that's an opportunity left on the table right there. Some of them told us that they reviewed almost all the businesses that they visit and frequent all the time. So how do you get back top of mind with them to get them to leave these reviews that are so important and critical in getting ranking and in getting foot traffic? So to do this, actually, you know what? How little are people being requested to leave reviews? Some folks, 42% of people haven't actually been asked to leave a review in over a month. What's encouraging is about a third said that within the last week they were asked to leave a review, which is great. About 28% said this month, which is good. But anything after a month, I mean, people forget what has happened. They might have a general recollection of the sentiment, but it certainly won't be as powerful, and they'll probably not remember or not be able to leave you a genuine or interesting review. So in terms of timing, 66% prefer same-day requests. And this is where I think stacking and layering is so important. So most folks want to be asked at the time of service. I'm sure that this happened to you. You go to the hardware store, they give you your receipt, and then they kind of circle at the bottom of the receipt and say, scan this QR code, leave us your thoughts. That's a first step there. They also want to be reminded the same day or within the next few days, but not really further than that. So make it fresh. If it's for delayed transactions, so for example, if somebody has traveled and you want to ask them about their experience at the hotel or with their transportation, at the time of service, not really relevant, but you may still want to ask them at the time, or at least let them know that you'll be asking them. Leave a few days so that they can kind of decant and then come back to you. So the preferred methods to ask for reviews, of course, the majority said email, in person. So these two need to be used together. Phone call, surprisingly, came in third for us. After that, asking through social media. Yes, Rianne, the presentation will be recorded. And actually, I think you can get a copy of the slide deck right now. And SMS text. So we have other research that we did actually earlier this year where we looked at our own customers, GatherUp, and we can tell you that if you combined email and SMS as a channel, we've seen that for every 100 requests sent for reviews, 26 reviews came out of that. So when you combine multiple channels, that's where you get the most reviews. So think of this as at the time of service, you let them know that you'll be requesting a review. You may also just give them the option to have a scan, like some kind of signage inside of the business that they can scan and leave a review. Remind them by email within 24 hours, and don't hesitate to add a second channel to go multi-channel. Think that people have their cell phones, mobile phones on their in their hands at all times. So it's make it easy for them to leave you the review or give you the feedback. Scott asked, what's the percentage if you drop out email from the SMS number? You know what, that's a great question. I believe the number is 16%, but I might be wrong. I would recommend that you actually take a look at our Maximizing Your Online Reputation. We have the numbers for 2023. We'll actually be coming out with the 2024 numbers early next year. So I guess you'll want to stay tuned for that, Scott. All right, and then what we wanted to know is, where do people actually go and write reviews? Well, they go and write reviews where they read the reviews, and at no surprise at all, Google dominates again. Yelp is the next big contender for reviews around experiences and places. Then Facebook, TripAdvisor. So again, very important to make Google a place for people, give them an option to go and leave reviews there, but don't neglect the other channels. They do leverage them. And we talked about the power of social media. So places like Facebook, of course, should be a part of your review strategy. And what we wanted to know is actually what motivates them to leave you a review. And 72% of respondents said that they want to reward great service. So this is where, again, sweating the small details, making sure that your customer is delighted, that if there's any point of friction, that they have an opportunity to raise it and have you address it. People want to reward you and make sure that a good business, a business that actually takes the time to serve them well, does well. And so they're motivated by rewarding. 60% of reviewers said that they wanted to warn others of poor service. So what's interesting here is the second stat here that accompanies this, which is the 31% will share unresolved complaints online. So what's interesting here is that people want to reward great service, but then use reviews as a last resort if they feel that they could not escalate a problem at the time of service, or if they're not given an opportunity to actually give feedback in private. People want to give feedback in private, but if they don't have a means to do so, or if they do ask for help and they're not being helped, there's public reviews to try and get escalation. Thankfully, Alexia will cover some of the impacts if you do take the time to respond to those reviews and what will happen from there. And then moving on to spam warnings. So I talked a little bit about this a few minutes ago, right? So if you, for whatever reason, engage in deceptive review practices, it could be buying reviews, it could be also these spray and pray review practices where you have no reviews for 3 months and then suddenly you email your whole customer base and then there are thousands of reviews that come in. Platforms will view these suspiciously and will flag them. I've read of some instances where Google will just like remove a bunch of reviews and not really explain why these legitimate reviews aren't showing up. But if you end up with a spam warning or a label on your business page where the reviews live, the consequences are really dire. 37% of respondents said that they would outright avoid a business that's flagged for spam. And not just avoid the business, but 18% of them said that they would actually warn other people seeking that service about that business. So there's seepage that goes into offline word of mouth. So some takeaways for you here. Winning again with proactive reputation management. People want to leave reviews. 87% of people said, yeah, I love to leave reviews. I will almost or sometimes leave a review when asked. Make sure that you leverage recency and go multi-channel. So ask when the experience is fresh in the mind of the customer. Most people are rewarded or motivated to reward great service. So make sure that there's a great experience. Businesses are not perfect. Errors can happen. If you want to avoid escalation, then give them a way to reach you privately and give you that feedback privately so that you can actually address it. And think of folks that actually air grievances through reviews. They do this as a last resort. And of course, avoid engaging in bad review practices. They're so important in the buyer journey, but you need to earn them legitimately by providing great service and having your customers actually leave reviews. You can't game the system. The system is very good at detecting deceptive practices. All right, we're on to our next poll.
Great. I'm going to go ahead and launch our final poll right now. Does your organization currently practice proactive reputation management? Yes, no, or unsure. Does your organization currently practice proactive reputation management?
Really interested in seeing what people are going to say.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
We have a bunch that have come in already, and if you haven't voted yet, please go ahead and do so now. Yes, no, or unsure. Do you practice proactive reputation management? I'm going to go ahead and share the results.
That's great to read. I'm very happy to see that. More than half proactively manage their reputation. Now, there's a great opportunity here. I mean, you can consider your competitors or your clients' competitors having a similar attitude. About 57% of them actually proactively engage in reputation management, and about 40% of them don't. So how can you give a competitive edge to your customers and to your business by adding reputation management and leave the others in the dust? I would love to hand off the third part of the statistics to Alexia. So Alexia, do you want to walk us through the power of responding to reviews?
I'd love to. But before I get started, I'm really curious, and you can respond using an emoji. How many of you have ever gone on a date with someone who has absolutely never texted you back? I want to know how possible that is, and if it is possible. I need you to tell me all your secrets because that's amazing. But in most cases, you can't continue to build a relationship with someone if they're not present or responsive. The same can be said about review response, and surveyors feel the same way. Online reputation management is part of an ongoing customer service relationship. Good or bad, we want a response. When searching for a business, 82% of surveyors said that they will choose a business that actively responds to reviews online. Are there any married people in here? You don't have to respond, but if you're married in a relationship, have someone you care about. If I told you that you had better success with an 82% chance of getting a yes if you asked them something, would you pass up those odds? Exactly. So why are we not responding to online reviews? 92% of surveyors said that they believe responding to reviews is a part of the customer service experience. I think all too often businesses think that customer service is reactive and it's what I can do to resolve a problem, or it's what I can do to help facilitate the operations. But customer service is going to be one of the most connected, loyal relationships your customers have. And so prioritizing that also means responding to reviews in a sincere and human way that can give you a big advantage against competitors. So despite what worried clients may think, a complaint isn't the end of the world. As an athlete, my coach would always tell me, I'm yelling at you because I know you can be better. You should be worried if I am quiet. And so most of the time customers are complaining to you, it's because they actually want something to be fixed and they're giving you the opportunity to do so. 73% of surveyors will give a second chance. They get a thoughtful response, not just a response, but a thoughtful response. 54% will update their negative review after a resolution, and 59% won't return if ignored. In such a competitive market today where there are tons of competitors and consumer products to choose from, can any of your customers really avoid to ignore customers and lose potential business? I don't think so. Now, I mentioned earlier, good or bad, responding can only help you. While most businesses tend to focus on negative reviews and responses, the positive reviews deserve a little love as well. This goes back to our dating example. You can't really nurture a successful relationship with one-way effort. 73% of our surveyors showed appreciation and appreciate acknowledgement of positive feedback from the business. When I read that, I completely understood, and I completely understand being able to make that connection. This person took time out of their day, they had a great experience, and they took the time to share that, which ultimately will support and help your business. I imagine it this way. I play a pickup game with Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan goes, "Hey, Alexia, good game." Am I just gonna walk away and ignore Michael Jordan? Probably not. So why would we ignore our customers? We never, ever, ever want to ignore customers because we want to treat customers like they're our MVP, because they're the champions out in the market for your business. Now, quantifying potential missed business is difficult without NSA or telepathy or spying on people, but I would like to assume that it's costing more to not respond to reviews than it would to respond. Cost is silence. 59% of surveyors won't give a business a second chance if they don't respond to their negative reviews. Again, no one likes being ignored. No one. And surveyors agree. 44% will tell others about being ignored by the business, and 32%, and I'm just going to say it again because I was very shocked and also a little dismayed, 32% will actively seek out competitors. I'll put it this way. Sending a customer to a competitor is like sending Jordan to the Pistons. You just don't want that going down in history for you. And so being able to build that trust with consumers through active responses, human, sincere, thoughtful responses can dramatically change how customers view your customer service experience with your business and definitely give you a competitive advantage over your competitors. Don't sacrifice efficiency for over-automating. In the world of AI, I know we are all curious, maybe a little fearful, but definitely excited about what AI can do about creating efficiency and saving time and money as it continues to be developed. But 64% of surveyors are discouraged from writing reviews if they think that it's going to be responded with an AI response. To Mel's point earlier, 60% of surveyors won't even interact with the business or engage if they feel like your responses are AI supported. Now, I'm not telling you not to use AI. I definitely think you can leverage AI as an assistant to help respond to more reviews quickly by offering suggested responses, but giving you, the brand, the opportunity to personalize the response for each review. There's nothing worse than going on someone's business and looking at their reviews, and everything is a thank you for your feedback. We will tell the appropriate team, or thank you so much for your feedback. We're super excited that happened. To me, the personability behind it, feeling like I'm actually being seen and heard by the business, good or bad, is dramatically changes how my loyalty to that business. And so avoiding fully automating and using the same replies throughout can make a major difference in how not only you generate more reviews, but also how you continue to manage and respond to those reviews and build that customer relationship. So, trustworthiness is not built immediately, it's built over time, and that comes with responsiveness. 69% want to see apologies and responses when addressing negative reviews. I was actually in a meeting earlier today, and it was so funny. One of the person presenting mentioned that they worked at the Cheesecake Factory, and I was like, oh my gosh, I used to work at the Cheesecake Factory too. Well, what I learned working in retail and hospitality and food and beverage is that the customer is always right. A sorry is free, it costs you nothing, and it can only build rapport and loyalty with your customer base. So being able to not only thoughtfully respond, but offering an apology and resolve for the inconvenience or experience that negative reviewer had can go a long way. 67% value offers to make things right. Last week before the holidays, me and my girlfriend went to dinner, and we had a reservation at 7 o'clock. We didn't get set till 7:53. And not only did we not get an apology, but we got the runaround about why nothing was offered to us. And so therefore, not only did we not spend as much as we would typically spend, we also have no plans to return. And so every customer experience, complaint, good or bad, is an opportunity for you as a business to make things right. When customers give you the opportunity to make things right before going and telling the world how terrible you are, you want to take that opportunity immediately. 42% actually appreciate contact details for resolution. I know that today we're in this world where people hate being on the phone, no one likes to talk, but I think that when people have something to say, you want to give them an outlet to listen and a channel to listen. And so it was very intrigued to see that, because again, I don't like talking on the phone until I absolutely have something to say, and by that point you probably don't want to hear it, but being able to provide that as a solution is going to be critical. Now, I mentioned before, quantifying potentially lost business is going to be a little bit difficult, but what we can say is unanswered feedback is a brand liability. 53% of surveyors don't recommend the business, 32% will seek an alternative, and a whopping 97%, I'm going to be honest, the way I grew up, it's 100% to me. 100% of the people won't engage with a business less than 3 stars. That's going to be critical when you think about your brand reputation and brand liability. It goes back to the flywheel that we mentioned earlier. It's not just about give me a review. It's not just about thank you for your review. It's about creating meaningful and human interactions with customers that can lead to growth for your business and overall customer lifetime value. So a few things I'd love for you guys to take away. Trust and loyalty are critical. Active review management builds lasting relationships with your customers, and I'm so delighted and I'm so happy to hear that over 55% of you already have a strategy in place, and over half of you are also already have a platform that you're utilizing. So you're already there, just have to continue with these steps. Second chances are a must. Everyone loves a redemption story. So thoughtful responses transform negative experiences into actual loyalty. Being able to address a complaint, going back and resolving that complaint can easily take you from an initially 2-star up into a 4 or 5 star simply by taking the time to respond and engage with a customer and provide a resolution. Modern customer service is going to be necessary. Reputation management is integral to service excellence, and customer service does not stop at the point of transaction. And proactive strategies. As I mentioned earlier, I think that it's so easy to be reactive when it comes to online reviews. A lot of the times I've spoken to clients in the past, and it's like, oh, well, I'm coming to you because now we have a problem. Now we're getting negative reviews. Proactive is best. You want to completely avoid ever having to be in that situation. And so timely review acquisition and personalized responses can definitely help you drive growth. Before I hand it back off to Mel, I just want to say thank each and one of you again for attending the webinar. I'm very grateful that you're here during such a busy time, and I hope that the data that us data nerds gathered for you is as impactful to you and your knowledge and how you think about your business as it was for us. So I'd like to hand it back to Mel to close us out.
Well, thank you so much, Alexia. So if you want to read the full survey results, it's live on our website. You can find it in our resource center. You can also scan the QR code, and I believe there's a link in the handouts for you that you can use. One last time before we dive into the questions, I want to tell you that we are loved and trusted by thousands of agencies and businesses around the world. You'll notice that we don't have any agency logos on this slide, and it's for a great reason. We're their secret weapon for local SEO and reputation management. In addition, we're proud to count many brick and mortar businesses and services among our distinguished clientele. And I am very curious to see your questions and your reactions to these findings. Is there anything in here that you saw that really surprised you, that you did not expect? I see we have a bunch of questions already queued up.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much for all of that data. Like so much data, so much information, a lot to digest. One question that came in that has directly SEO oriented is, have you seen a direct correlation between actively managing online reputation, specifically focusing on Google business profile reviews, and improvements in local SEO rankings and visibility for local businesses? So this is a two-part question. Let's start with that part. Have you seen any direct correlation between Google business profile reviews and improvements in local SEO rankings?
So there are plenty of correlations out there. I do know that Sterling Sky and White Spark both leverage reputation management as part of their toolkit for local SEO. And, review volume matters. The star rating matters a lot. The quality inside of these reviews with photos and with, for example, for restaurants having pictures of the menu, actually seeing the venue where the service is being provided, or actual photos. So all of these elements together does help within your local pack. We don't have quantified data to say if you do these specific things, you'll for sure be in the 3-pack, but having an excellent reputation does go a long way.
It's great to hear. Also, the second part to this question is, do you have any suggestions on how to effectively generate those reviews for home service businesses, such as HVAC, plumbing, etc.?
In our Maximizing Your Online Reputation, we actually researched that we have a whole section devoted to HVAC. I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but if you go on the GatherUp website, you can actually download the report and you'll see the tactics and strategies. And actually, we provide information on the number of first and third party reviews by segment, and HVAC construction is, those two are mentioned in that piece. I'm sorry I can't give you a better answer right now, though.
Excellent. Thank you so much. The next question that came in was, you had mentioned that 3-star reviews are quite trusted. Do you feel that consumers trust 3-star reviews because they may assume that there's chronic complainers out there that are basically bringing down the overall score?
I feel like Alexia would have a good opinion on that one.
I was reading the question at the same time you're reading it. Do you feel that consumers trust 3-star reviews because they assume there may be chronic complainers in the mix bringing down the score? What I think and what I see from the research is that there is a slight distrust amongst 5-star reviews only because no one's perfect. And so I find that people view 3-star, 4-star reviews as more authentic, but that could also be dealing with the content of the reviews. I think when you only look at the star rating, that gives a slight misconception about the experience with the brand. Most often I see 5-star reviews, it's because the brand really did go over and beyond. And a lot of the times you see the 3 and 4, it's like, oh, everything was great, I don't have anything negative to say, they just didn't want to give a complete 5-star to, I guess, misrepresent the perfection of the business. And so for me, I don't think it's that it's chronic complainers. I do think that it's important for people to go beyond just the star rating. Similar to what Mel was mentioning in the survey, people do search by, most recent review, highest rating, and then lowest critical rating. It's really going to be about the content, because it's really hard to get into the psychology of why someone gave a star rating, especially when you look at the content. It's like, oh, I have nothing bad to say, everything was great from start to finish. It's okay, then why did they only get 3.5 stars? It's just a personal thing. So yeah.
Great. Next question is interesting and very timely. Have you seen an impact from Google generative AI search on reputation management on Google branded searches?
I don't think we have enough data to answer that question well. So I would say stay tuned for some more research we'll be doing. But as of now, actually, Michael, our CEO, did some searching earlier this quarter, actually, and noticed that generative AI seems to rely a lot on directories and articles that will have sort of like a top 10 or a top 100 type directory, and will kind of aggregate similar information to come up with a type of result. So, but I don't have enough data to answer confidently, but that's a good question and something we should look to answer next year.
Yeah, very early on in that. Also, there's a question that came in about Yelp. Do you have a strategy to generate reviews on Yelp with your software? Since Yelp is very, I guess, defensive or aggressive when it comes to solicitation, Yelp may consider direct requests themselves to be solicitation.
Yeah, so we don't enable Yelp review generation through our platform simply because they're very litigious about that. They are very defensive. They don't even want businesses to solicit in person and say, hey, please leave me a positive Yelp review. They want the reviews to come in organically. And I think that this segues well with another question or chat that I saw come through where somebody was like, can I just get one or like person to give me one review and then I can just aggregate it across all of these different websites? And I believe the same motivation for Yelp wanting to be protective of their reviews is the same as the other ones. Third-party reviews belong to them. It's on their website. It's their own content. You don't own that one. First-party reviews, you own it. You can do whatever you want with it. But sites like Google and Yelp and Nextdoor, they want content that is unique to them. They don't want duplicate content that's just copy and pasted from everywhere. So I think that this is they want to protect their proprietary data. And fortunately and unfortunately, if an important directory has policies around how to generate reviews and they want to have purely organic review generation, then the ideal outcome is to listen to their process and abide by the rules.
It's a very good point about them owning that content.
Exactly.
The difference between first party and third party content. Another question that comes in is when looking at other platforms, I would say this is especially in the SaaS space, has Reddit become more important than G2 or Capterra at this point?
I can't answer that objectively. I will say that personally, I would say yes, only because G2 and Capterra incentivizes review generation. And so myself as a B2B tech buyer, I actually want to have the real information, and I feel that there might be some bias in these platforms. I do think, though, that G2 does a good job when you actually take the time to leave a review. It's super detailed. It's not just a star rating in a paragraph. They ask you many different dimensions of the software, the usability, the service, the discovery, the pricing. So it goes very deep. So I think that the quality of the data on G2 is better, but at the same time, I do think that what's good with Reddit is that it feels unfiltered and it feels like authentic.
I do just want to piggyback that answer, Mel. One thing you'll want to consider as well, based on the customers who might be considering Reddit as a platform, you'll also want to consider the user. So for me, when I think about G2, it's most often going to be a buyer, a decision maker, someone who's looking to implement the tool across their operations for whatever reason, versus a user. Reddit is really good for people who are using a platform, like engineers, developers, things like that in our space. And so I would say it's really going to each platform will vary depending upon the person you're trying to communicate to, and that's going to play a role for sure.
Yeah, that's a great point, Alexia. I guess it depends on the buyer journey, the process, and is your buyer your end user? Absolutely agree with you. I think Reddit is a lot more the end user. G2 will be a lot more the decision makers or the leads in the project implementations, and they'll rely on those channels the most.
And I'm sorry, just one more thing. I will say this personally in my experience, what I have found is that Reddit actually just does a better job of organic review searches. And so if you're looking like for feedback on a platform or a tool, oftentimes I find that Reddit comes up better than G2, and those conversations are filtered better. And so that's another thing as well. So who knows what will be a year or 2 years from now in terms of how G2 and Kaltura respond to that. But Reddit is definitely a growing platform, and definitely one you want to be monitoring and managing on behalf of your customers and clients.
Excellent. 2025 may be the year of Reddit. Well, I guess 2024 to a degree was the year of Reddit. Mel and Alexia, thank you so much for the presentation today. And we usually end our webinars, our SEJ webinars, with the next upcoming webinar. Thank you very much. Thank you for doing this today. Really appreciate it. Appreciate all of our attendees that stayed on today, interacted, everything else. And happy holidays from the team at SEJ and GatherUp, and have a happy new year. We'll see you in 2025.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye-bye.